What? Really? People are pulling on this step-up banner? That's crazy! I don't know what you're talking about. This seems to be like a great deal. I mean, you get 50 pulls for 1,200 gems and a guaranteed 5-star, 50% rate up on the featured unit. All I'm saying is, if it's not Cyrus, then why are we even using our rubies, right? Am I right? We're gonna wait for Cyrus, right? That's what we all should be doing. He's got 3 jobs in one. Like, he's the best unit out there. Let's just wait and pull him. I mean, yeah, Cyrus is a great unit, and we're not saying that we're, not going to try to pull for him too, but, I mean, to get him, I need to have at least 6,000 gems to, make sure I can, pull them. Here, I can at least get this unit for 2,400. Now, I'm just saying that Cyrus is a unit that you're going to use way down the road, whereas you'll probably end up replacing these units relatively quickly, a couple banners, probably when you're pulling for Cyrus. Alright, YouTube, this is 2 Cent. Welcome back. This is my 2 cents on Octopath Traveler, and I hope you enjoyed my little opening skit there, trying something a little bit fresh for you guys, but I've seen this kind of, mingling around in the Reddit forums or the Twitter or, in Discords of if these units are good enough to pull on, or, if it's the stay fast, stay, steady for Cyrus. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit today. Let's get into it. All right, to start out, in case you haven't been around the scene very long or haven't, heard about Cyrus, this is just a kind of a little brief thing on his kit. Basically, he's got fire, ice, and lightning completely covered, basically, with 3-hit AoEs. So it's really great. This is super nice to have. Decently powerful in his stats and everything like that. Gives himself a 20% up to all 3 of those elements in his passives. So there is nothing that we can say really negative about Cyrus as a unit. He will be impactful. He will be good for our teams going into the future. Being able to have that 3-element kind of coverage is very, very useful. I do not want anybody to walk away from this video saying that, oh, well, Cyrus isn't that good. I think Cyrus is really good, and I think he, for JP was one of those first really good units that kind of came out that had this kind of multi-coverage. But I do want to also emphasize that we will start to see that more and more, where we have units that are covering either multiple weapon types or multiple elements. And so that is going to be a thing moving forward. And so the real kind of question here isn't why aren't we, waiting for Cyrus, or why aren't we pulling for Cyrus, which I think a lot of people are definitely waiting and saving, and I think that is completely fine. But I think the real question is are the units that we have now going to be rendered irrelevant when units like Cyrus start to be the mainstay? We're getting 3 elements or 3 weapon types, or a mixture between the 2 on each new banner. Is it going to make us say, oh, well, Fjord, you're going to have to go out the window. You're pretty much just a sword attacker. You can't break, dark shields for crap, and your magic damage is really low. How long do we have a lifespan for our current units? And I think this is probably a question that a lot of people are kind of having, as far as, whether we should be investing rubies now or later. And I will say that I've played a lot of gacha games, and the longer you hold on to your gems, the better unit you can get, because that's just the nature of the beast. If you're comparing a unit that comes out, day 1 of a game versus a unit that comes out, at the first year anniversary of the game, let's hope that unit is better than the one that came out on day 1. Let's hope the gap isn't too big between the 2. And so that's kind of where games are trying to kind of, fill that kind of medium role there. And you can tell when a game has a lot of power creep in a way, and games that don't have a lot. And I think as far as Octopath Traveler is concerned, as far as we've gone through and as much knowledge as I have, I think it's actually pretty safe to have quite a few of these units without it being troublesome about power creep. I know I've heard Shizocats talk about this before, but I think looking at your support units like Teo or Millard and stuff like that, since you're only really bringing one of those on a team of 8 at any one time, they have a higher chance of, kind of being replaced as better units come with Ophelia and things like that. And so I think you do have a little bit of a power creep in there, but I think we're on a pretty good pace as far as the rest of these things go. And part of what we don't have in global yet, and that JP does have, and we're going to eventually get probably here in the next few months, is class-specific battles, some trials. So basically only Dancer, only Warrior, things of that nature, which was part of the kind of reasoning and thought that we used when we were talking about Eliza, about having her healing capability as a warrior would, really see some sunshine in that fight when you're not able to bring your Teo or, your Millard or any of those typical healers that you would bring to those fights. So basically, we need to try to balance what we're talking about content-wise versus what we're going to be talking about usefulness-wise. So as a general unit, going into fights that you just don't know what the weakness is, or you're working on story, different things like that, Cyrus is going to have a lot of usefulness because he can cover a lot of things. And that's great. And also, if you know a fight that he can, walk into and be able to use his fire, ice, or lightning, then obviously he's going to be a great, valuable unit for your team. Whereas another unit might not. Fior may not work well there because it's not going to be a sword weakness. So that's all going to be fight dependent, though. So when it comes to us doing the warrior trial, you're going to be bringing Fior. I think most people are going to be clearing at least that first, that trial, that first time clear or whatever, going to be with Fior and pretty much anything that's requiring warriors, because it's going to be a unit that pretty much all of us are going to have by that point. And she's strong at what she does. And those fights all have different mechanics, and I don't want to go into that. I don't want to have any spoilers. But some of these other units are going to see that kind of usefulness as well. We talked about Eliza with the healing. Potentially in some of these fights, you might need somebody who's a warrior who can also tank. So maybe that's why you would want to have Idea as an option to kind of throw into the mix, go out there and soak some hits or something like that for your team. So I just want to kind of give this kind of little conversation that there's definitely, what we want to consider as meta units that have this high utility and usefulness, but there's also going to be units that you're going to be using for specific uses here and there, which will also be super valuable to your team. And we can kind of talk about all day of whether or not, okay, is it better to spend my Ruby here or a Ruby there? And I just don't want it to come down to the idea that I need to always say for this next meta unit. So try to see things in a little bit different. If you're just a super meta player or you're a spender and you can just, pull on whatever you want, then maybe this kind of thought isn't going to apply to you. But if you're thinking, hey, you know what? I like Idea's kit for what it is, and I like how, her aesthetic, how waifu or however you want to put it is, then go ahead and throw a little bit at it, and see if you can, get lucky or get through the, the first or second step up if you have 2,400 gems, because this will likely be the last chance that you can spend 2,400 gems and get 2 guaranteed 5 stars, with 50% right up for it to be her, and you're getting, free pulls along with that. So, I mean, really, if you're doing 2 full steps, that's, 3 free 10 pulls that you're going to get in that too. So, by getting more polls, you're going to get access to getting more units. Like, I still haven't filled out all the standard units. I'm still missing Viola. So, like, having access to each of those units that have kind of already entered the standard banner. I don't have a Corin or a Heathcote. If I were to pick those up, it would be really great because I may not use them on my main team now, and it might be a while until I have that kind of usefulness come. But when we start getting into that kind of content, I'm going to be glad that I've had them for a while. I've been able to kind of cycle them through to kind of get them leveled up, maybe from ad cats or different hunts and stuff of that nature. And it's going to be really useful. If you're kind of hoarding all your gems back and you just really want Cyrus that bad, I'm not going to tell you that you're doing something wrong. But I'm also not going to tell these people who are kind of pulling and using their gems now, when they're kind of a cheaper aspect of using them, that they shouldn't be doing that either. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. And that's been my 2 cents.